and welcome to Supes and Sabers. My name is Jordan. With me, as always, as a lot of the time, is Chris. How are you today, Chris?
I'm doing pretty good. A lot of the time, life is good, so life is good.
And also, a lot of the time, Ron. How are you today, Ron?
I'm doing good, man. We've been looking forward to this episode for a while as we put the super fantastic summer behind us and look towards what's next. And we got a lot of fun shit to break down today, so it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, get some stuff out of the way. It's been 2 weeks since we did an episode. Part of that is that this one was supposed to be next. I got sick. Ron was sick. I'm still sick. I'm just, I'm feeling probably the best I've felt in a while, but it's just one of those stretches of time. So
I think it was the podcast gods being like, you guys can take a little bit of a break.
yeah. And like you said, we wrapped up super fantastic summer that we had here. And we're going to kind of touch on something that is not. So what the main part of this episode is going to be is looking ahead to like our upcoming slate, not just Marvel, DC, but like Star Wars, stuff that we are going to be covering here on the podcast from, for the rest of this year and into next year. And we're going to kind of just give our thoughts, concerns, stuff like that about not each episode of each movie. We're going to start with movies, and then we're going to give just a little tiny bit of background on TV shows. A lot of those don't have as much information out there as movies, so we're going to kind of focus on the movie side of things. But before we get into that, to wrap up Super Fantastic here, James Gunn was hitting the circuits for Peacemaker season 2, and he says that he has wrapped up his 60-page treatment for the next film in what he is calling the Superman saga, and that they're actually already scheduling filming. That's an important part. You have to work with what actors are available when their schedule opens up. So that's what they're working on. And he says it will film sooner rather than later. So I want to ask you guys, and we'll start with you, Ron, I guess here. What do you think this project is? When do you think we get it?
Well, my gut tells me that it's going to be a 2026, probably summer 2026 filming for a 2027 release. It seems like James Gunn has a pretty clear plan, at least through these. Well, we know he has a 10-year plan, but very specifically for the supers, Superman, Supergirl. So we got Superman. Next year, we're going to get Supergirl. And every indication is that this is going to be some kind of team-up movie. There was that little piece of concept art, or I don't know exactly what it was that was floating around social media. I don't know if it was fan-made or what, but a lot of people were like getting hyped over it. It was a drawing of like panels, and one of them was Superman and Supergirl, and then Brainiac was underneath it. So like,
Ron,
I don't know.
I got homework for you. Okay, this is what you need to do.
Okay,
you own the movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Supposedly, it's on the behind-the-scenes featurette, and I think from what I read is that it is, and I can't confirm because I don't own it yet because I'm a physical media sucker that's waiting for physical media. It says. I think people were saying it was him kind of showing how detailed his like storyboards are. You know how he does like those for like all of his movies on little index cards, and he like storyboards everything. So I don't know if it is actually like a hint at what is next, or if he's like, I'm just gonna like freaking draw an example that's not part of this movie. I don't know. Like that is something I can't confirm because I haven't watched it. But that's what I heard when people were like, "What is this from?" It sounds like it's from the behind the scenes thing. So I guess if you check that out, and I don't know, but that is the main. That's the sad thing is that is what everybody's jumping onto. So much so that I saw a fan account that was like, "What do we know about this movie?" And they're like, "We know it's going to star Millie Alcock." I was like, "We actually don't know that. All we know is that Superman has a big role because people are taking the super family thing that Zaslav said and just thinking that meant for Superman's family, but like he was talking as if like just a super movie, like he
Yeah.
said he sees super family. So it made it sound like he was talking about the whole brand. So
Yeah.
that's where it's going to get a little tricky. But the main thing everybody's speculating on, like you said, is Superman, Supergirl teaming up against Brainiac. And that is what I want. But I am really holding off, Chris, on leaning into that's what we're going to get, because I just worry that everybody's jumping the gun, pun not intended.
Yeah, I think it's setting up for a team up, but there's something we don't know here, and I would say that David Cornsweet, Superman, you're set up to do pretty much anything you want. If you want to do a team up with Millie Alcock, it's set up for it. If you want to just have another Superman movie, you've already paired him up with Mr. Terrific and the Justice Gang. He can play around with a lot of different moving parts. So I think if James Gunn had his druthers and he could have all his tools to play with, I think we'd get a world's finest. But because the Batman situation is just not in his cards, I think we're going to get I think this pivot was the Supergirl Superman team up. I don't think it's Brainiac. I think Brainiac is something they're building towards. The only problem with saying that I don't think it's Brainiac is like you pair Superman and Supergirl together. That's got to be a pretty hard villain to beat.
That's why I think most people lean towards Brainiac. Though you could do
Yeah,
something like Mongul. I
yeah.
mean, Mongal was in the Suicide Squad, so I mean,
I,
like you could
I,
do Mongul, or
I would actually be interested if this is their way of setting up Apocalypse. And the reason I say that is because Superman Batman by Jeff Loeb, uh, Darkseid takes Supergirl and converts her into his weapon. And Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, they have to save Supergirl from Apocalypse and the clutches of Darkseid. And I would wonder if this is your way of having Darkseid in there, but maybe setting up Brainiac as the ultimate big bad villain of the universe. Plus, I remember they're probably going to do some Blackest Night stuff. They're probably going to do some Lantern stuff. So, like this big bad villain thing, I don't know that I want to put all the eggs in that basket anyway. But I would wonder if it's Darkseid with Supergirl, and maybe drawing from that a Superman Batman Apocalypse run.
That would be
interesting.
interesting.
I think. Sorry, I was because I think they would. If I'm James, I'm leaning away from the Darkseid stuff just because it was just recently used. I would probably. We've never gotten Brainiac. I would probably lean, if I'm him. I feel like I would want to do that. You can even throw in other Kryptonians with like the with Kandor and stuff, and all that good stuff in the fortress.
Oh, I'm all for Brainiac. I just think that we're jumping all on it right now because that's what it looks like right now.
Right.
I was like, if there's going to be another villain, I could see it being Darkseid. And if I'm James Gunn, I have no problem going to Darkseid because the Snyder guys, they're already ticked off. What are they going to do now?
I wouldn't even worry so much about the Snyder stuff, but just like we already did it. Like it kind of like when they don't do like Goblin or Doc Ock again right now for Spider-Man. They're like, well,
Right.
we did it recently. Like let's not jump into it. That's what my thought would be. But look, hopefully we get more info soon. It sounds like it's moving pretty darn fast. He's turning. So when he gave this interview, originally said he finished his treatment. On Threads later, he clarified when somebody asked him about the treatment that it was 60 pages. A lot of dialogue is already in there, but he's turning that into a full script. So that's kind of how his process works. Kind of a very detailed treatment, not like a 20-page treatment where it's like this is the high level. He's really in the weeds with it. So he probably turns that into like another 120-page. He probably doubles that, right? Because usually it's a page per minute. So you're looking at probably around 120, 140 pages from his 60 that he fleshes it out. And then we get to see, what this project is. But here's what's really exciting about it. So, when he was on Happy, Sad, Confused, it seemed like he was not it seemed like he was denying World's Finest or a Batman Superman situation. Good. I think that's good. I think if we kind of focus in on Superman right now, and I've been texting it to you guys in the chat and stuff, but like the fact of these first 3 heavy hitter movies being something like Superman, Supergirl, and then Superman, Supergirl together is almost like its own trilogy that you can kind of put together, but focusing on the super family gives it kind of a very distinct feel compared to what's out there for other like DC universes that we've had so far. It's kind of really focusing on the family.
Well, and they set up so much with the family in Superman already, right? Like, we need to know more about this message from Jor-El. We need to know more about the relationship between Clark and Supergirl. Like, at least I should say, we know, comic stuff, obviously, but like what this iteration of it's going to look like. It seems like Gunn's messing around with a lot of the like Krypton lore stuff a little bit. So like diving deeper into that, like they've set up so much of Superman's backstory and family history and stuff that it seems like it's just a natural way to go too. You do Superman, Supergirl, team them up together and make it all about family, yada, yada, kind of everything that they tried to market Fantastic Four as, you know what I mean? Not they did a good job of marketing as
yes.
Bad way to put it.
Yeah. We have to remember that James Gunn is using the words chapters, but this is basically phase 1. Superman was basically Iron Man. Supergirl, I guess you could call it Thor, and then Lanterns is Captain America. Like, you're setting up the seeds for
Peacemaker's Captain
Okay.
America.
Yeah. He
with the shield and everything.
Yeah, but you know what? Steve doesn't have his muscles. I'm just saying. He doesn't have the double piece. But
yes.
but no, seriously, I think they're setting up a very phase 1. You're having your introduction to the characters. Whether we're not doing intro stories for a lot of these, but not origin stories, but we're setting it up. And I think keeping it Kryptonian, keeping it Lanterns is going to be the formula right now.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. I guess let's move on from Superman Saga. I do agree with you that 2027, 2028 is probably our most likely looks there. We know that they're also moving forward with Wonder Woman, which we didn't really get to spend much time on here, but that script is being written, so is James, but I don't think they've talked about scheduling filming on Wonder Woman. So I do think this will jump the gun. Again, I'm not planning these. I do think this is going to jump. I think this is going to jump Wonder Woman here to take the
puns are my job.
Be there.
You're slowly infecting him, Chris.
It's
all right. Let's get to our movies in order, starting with originally it was going to be Doomsday. That got pushed. We are now kicking off. We'll have to come up with a fun name for this in 2026, but we got Mandalorian and Grogu. That's the wrong one. Mandalorian and Grogu, May 22nd, 2026, directed by Jon Favreau. All right, what we know so far. Sigourney Weaver is going to be playing a character named Ward, who is a colonel and leader of the New Republic's Adelphi Rangers. Okay. Jeremy Allen White is playing Rhoda the Hutt, the son of crime lord Jabba the Hutt. We got Zeb from Rebels making his, I was going to say debut, but he was in Mandalorian. And then what else we knew? I threw this in here. Favreau completed writing season 4 of The Mandalorian. It was supposed to start filming, but then the writer strike and the SAG strike stopped production. That's when Disney and Lucasfilm made the call to prioritize a film. What we don't know is if season 4 scripts have been repurposed into this or if Favreau has written a new script for the movie. So that's kind of, I would say, up in the air. I'm sure they probably repurpose some stuff, but also it could be like, hey, a season is this long. I don't have that type of time in a movie here, so let's just write a whole different thing, right? Like it could be that too. So I don't really know. But I guess since I started with Ron last time, we're going to start with you, Chris, on just kind of thoughts about the latest Star Wars movie hitting theaters.
Well, my first thought is, we just saw Crypto be like this family favorite. Grogu is already a family favorite, and that marketing is just going to go crazy.
Yeah.
It's going to be the summer of Grogu. Let's be honest. Grogu, Grogu, Grogu. It's just everywhere is going to be Grogu. This is the way. It sounds fun. Star Wars, Sigourney Weaver just has that Star Wars vibe, that Star Wars energy to her. She's been like awesome and like everything. So except for Blue Beetle. Um, I was like, I forgot about that one for a second, but yeah, it sounds good. I'm down for it.
Yeah, I always thought Sigourney Weaver would be a really good bad guy for Star Wars. So I was surprised that they're going more with like she's a New Republic Ranger. But Ron, give me your quick thoughts here, or your thoughts, concerns, anything you have regarding Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Sigourney Weaver guy too. Obviously, I'm a big Alien fan. So seeing her sort of be up in space again and doing that kind of stuff it's going to be cool. I do think in terms of the scripts, I think it is going to be a little bit of an amalgamation of both. I'm going to guess like they took whatever that overarching story of season 4 was going to be and probably did a lot of chopping it up and all that kind of stuff. And who knows, maybe they kind of realized, not even just because of the strikes and everything, maybe that was just what gave them the opportunity to look at it and say, maybe this would work better as a movie than trying to stretch this out. Because like when you think back to Mandalorian last season, I personally wasn't the biggest fan of it. And I felt like there was a lot of stuff that was just unnecessary in there that I think the season would have been fine if they had just like cut it out kind of stuff. So maybe, that was kind of a similar thing of what happened here. I don't know. But I've been pretty straightforward the whole time of just like, I'm super excited for this movie just to get Star Wars back in theaters again because it's been so damn long. It really wouldn't have mattered what the hell they were putting out. But I do think it'll be, I think it's going to be the type of movie that gives that part of the internet all the fodder they need to say, oh, Disney, Star Wars, blah, 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 blah. But I think for general audiences, it's going to be a great time. It's probably going to be closer to a popcorn movie than it is Rogue One. You know what I mean? It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of big visuals. Definitely one to see in IMAX. And that's just kind of like where I'm at vibe wise heading into it. I'm not expecting Andor, but I'm just excited to have Star Wars back in the movies again.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Mandalorian and Grogu. I think putting it in the big screen is... I see some people say it's like a risk. I can kind of understand that a little bit, just in the sense of people are used to having these characters on their screen at home. But if Mandalorian and Grogu can't get people to the theaters when we're talking about an absolute merchandise juggernaut like Grogu, and then also Mandalorian is very popular,
and Pedro Pascal's in it.
The brand of Star Wars is in a lot more trouble than we would think, right? If they can't get people to go see that movie, I think it'll be good. I think like Jon Favreau has not really steered me wrong. I didn't mind season 3. It's probably the weakest of the seasons, I would say, but I think it ended strong. I do think like the end of it, it's just kind of that lull in the middle. The Jack Black episode, right? That people really will kind of harp on and stuff. But I think those type of things can kind of go away in a movie. Because you're not worried about like, oh, let's just have Jack Black visit for an episode. Like, that's cool. Like, at that point, you're working on a movie, and you're not really focusing on like who can visit this week in the Mandalorian.
The story has to be tighter because you can't rely on the episodic nature in that way.
Right. So kind of refocusing onto the movie. The fact that Doomsday moved away from it is good too. I thought that was kind of crazy that we were going to have 3 weeks. Now, of course, most movies make their money within the 3 weeks. Doomsday would have been already near the end of its run at that point when we're talking about big money.
Mm-hmm.
But it still is like all right, let's not totally cannibalize ourselves in the month of May.
Yeah.
When it comes to Disney. I mean, they're both
Well,
owned
look
by
at
the same
Fantastic Four.
conglomerate.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four, like, yeah, it opened huge. Like, it looked like it was going to be great. It had the huge fall off, but Superman kept doing pretty well. So you don't want something right before it that people are like really about, and then just put, oh, here's another big movie.
Yeah, the bad thing is too, like Fantastic Four has eaten into Superman was on pace for better legs before Fantastic Four came out.
Both of these movies would have done at least a market amount better had they not been so close to the other, for sure.
Yes,
and I would even probably throw Jurassic World did really well because it was the first one as well. I think if that had come out later and like you had reshuffled the order, I think it was just kind of a lesson like for all these studios of like these big ones that were really like relying on to be the tent poles of our year. Maybe let's not do that like in the future because we're just kind of screwing ourselves, especially in this case with Disney because it's both of their movies. You know what I mean? There's just there was no point.
And if Secret Wars wasn't, needing extra time, they would have opened it that way still. Yeah. They did the same thing with Infinity War and Solo. They didn't care, right? They
look what happened. Look what happened to Solo.
Yeah. For probably other circumstances as well as just being like Infinity War took over that summer. But still, like just I don't know. I'm glad it kind of has the summer. It's going to be it's the 49th anniversary of Star Wars next year. They already said that 2027 April is going to have the A New Hope released. I don't know why they said it so early. That's a year and some away. I actually got confused where I thought it was for next April. And I was like, wait a minute, this says 2027. I was really thrown off because next year's not the 50th.
I can't wait to go see The New Hope in theaters. Like,
me too. It's the last one I need. It's the last Star Wars movie I need to see in theaters to be able to have them all. So
that's just a dream come true. So I mean, like, we're all too young for that. We're all too young to have that memory. So that's just like so awesome. Yeah. Bring on 2027 for that.
But yeah, so 2026 May, Mandalorian and Grogu. We don't know too much about it. No trailer for it or anything yet for most of these projects. So that's all we really know for it. I think we're good to move on, right? Are we good to talk about? Let's talk about Supergirl, which releases on my birthday, which I hope doesn't move because I think this would be really fun. June 26, 2026, directed by Craig Gillespie. What we know, we got Millie Alcock as Kara Zor-El, Jason Momoa as Lobo, Matthias Schoenaerts as Krem of the Yellow Hills, Eve Ridley as Ruthie, David Krumholtz as Zor-El, Supergirl's father, Emily Beecham as Alora in Z, which is Supergirl's mother, and it's based on the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. That used to be the title for it. And we have the first teaser poster, which I will share here on the video podcast. Look out.
So perfect. It's just so perfect.
Love it. It's the perfect way to follow. I mean, look up. Oh no, this time looking out. And it's a perfect embodiment, right? Because I'm not super duper familiar with this character like you guys are, but just in the little that I do know and the little that we've seen here, she is quite the stark contrast personality-wise from Clark. Much less buttoned up, much more of a partier, much more free, kind of flowing. So it's going to be fun to see, a character that's so different from Superman, but still, part of that family. It's just such an interesting dynamic that, again, when we go to that movie the following year, it's going to be a lot of fun to dive into more. But no, I'm super stoked for this one. Like the sentiment that I keep like hovering around, especially from that one shot that we saw, is like Guardians. Like this is going to have big time DC Guardians of the Galaxy vibes a little bit. So I'm super stoked, but I'm going to shut up and let you guys talk because you know this character way more than I do. So also shout out my girl, obviously.
Yeah, Millie Alcock. Yeah. Also shout out. This is not blood on our hands. This is the spray paint from Spray Paint.
Yeah.
All right.
dude, James Gunn's making her so edgy. Oh my god,
driving me nuts when people are like, "Oh, I see the blood on her hands. It's not blood." Okay,
this is the perfect amount of edginess, like coolness, without being over the top. Like I think the poster is perfect. It's that summer it will be my wallpaper. I guarantee it. And I'll tell you this right now: the coat is fantastic. I love everything about what we established in the Superman movie. I love the Woman of Tomorrow comic. I'm actually kind of holding off to reread it closer to up to like the Supergirl coverage. But I'll tell you what, this is going to be a fun movie. We talked about the Guardians of the Galaxy vibe. It's a space odyssey. They go from planet to planet. If you like Star Wars and Superman together, it's gonna be kind of your thing. Honestly, this is like David Cornsbutt's like favorite two things, like Space Odyssey with Kryptonian stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, he's got to find a way in this movie, but I'm sure he will be like for a scene or two. But it won't be very Earth based. I'm just excited about this movie. I like everything I've seen about it. Craig Gillespie seems like a good director. I'm also very glad that James Gunn isn't directing it because then we can have proof of concept with another director in this universe and with a major character. So,
and you can have somebody. You can also have him film. Like if he was filming this one, we wouldn't get this as soon as we are either.
No,
right,
because he'd be still wrapping up whatever he's working on. So,
when do you guys think this takes place? During Superman or after?
Right after.
Because I was gonna say, like, doesn't she
guess.
need to have crypto with her in this story? So,
yep, right after. She picks up crypto. She
goes back to partying.
Yep, and then she meets this jerk in a bar, and without superpowers, kicks his ass.
Interesting.
There you go. You haven't read it yet, right, Ron?
No, I've got it here, dude. It's been sitting on my table there for like weeks now, but I gotta just do it.
I haven't read it
with all my other damn comics.
I haven't read it yet either because I've been reading so many different things, and I think I'm going to read it and then reread it for our coverage. So look, a lot of these movies we're talking about, we're going to be doing not as in depth as the Superman Sundays, Fantastic Fridays, because honestly, a lot of this stuff doesn't have as much deep well, right? So Supergirl, I'm definitely going to watch the 1984 movie and discuss it on here. And then we're also going to do the at least the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic. At least those two things as we run up to Supergirl. Lanterns, we have a plan for a couple things leading up to Lanterns as well. Same thing with Spider-Man Brand New Day. Mandalorian and Grogu, maybe we take a look at the retro of the last 3 seasons and just kind of catch up where we are on it or something. But because I'll probably rewatch those myself before the thing, but I'm not doing like episode by episode recap on that. Okay. Funny story about this. So my parents went to see Superman, and I was asking them how it went and stuff, and they were like, it was all right, right? And my mom was like, I didn't really like how Supergirl was like calling him bitch and stuff. I was like, oh, that's like based off a newer comic, because like for them, like Supergirl was always not
just
that
Clark
right?
2.0. Yeah.
Yes. So I was like, it is based off something. It wasn't just like this creative liberty. But yeah. So I've had a few people that have kind of, I've heard say that kind of stuff, and you have to kind of warn them, I guess, about that. But
dude, not to real quick side pivot too, because I had this thought the other night. Do you guys think it's a good idea going right from Superman into Peacemaker, knowing that there's going to be a ton of young fans who are looking for more DCU, and this is the first thing? Like, I don't think it was intentional. I think it was just like they had to put Peacemaker out, right? Like it's been in the can for a little bit.
I don't think it actually matters.
Okay,
with that.
Is my thought. I think young fans don't even really know who Peacemaker is, so they won't go looking for it, they're not going to see probably like as many ads for it, I would assume. Because it's not like a show that they're putting out like the way Superman was, where you're like, oh, go to Dairy Queen and get your Peacemaker,
Yeah,
eat
in
effing
Fortnite.
peace pie or something, like you're not getting that, right? Like you maybe get an ad on TV, but mainly if they go and look at it on HBO Max or whatever, it says TVMA. And if their parents have any sort of parental controls or any sort of worry about that kind of stuff, they'd be able to stop it. I mean, kind of the same thing as if Marvel, the whole Deadpool stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to balance him if he's in an Avenger movie or if he's not in an Avenger movie? We don't even know. Right, but 3 different reports this week on if he's in it or not. But some people did take their kids to go see Deadpool and Wolverine. Some people knew that that's not kosher. That's not that's not what you're supposed to do. So
yeah,
I don't think it'll matter as much because Peacemaker's not as big of a character. He's not. I don't think they're selling it the same sort of way as like, here's the next piece of the DCU. The way Deadpool was even like, hey, this is a big thing. It's multiverse. It's this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just kind of like, here's the next chapter of Peacemaker. And it happens to be next. Like, that's how I look at it. Like, I don't think a lot of kids wearing Superman stuff are going to be waiting until Thursday counting down so they can watch Peacemaker. Chris, any thoughts?
What I'll say about this is the only thing I'm afraid of is that, okay, so this isn't for general audiences. This is for adults. This isn't for kids. And then you have the HBO Max stuff, the TV stuff, not be as accessible or linked to the main stuff. And then you get to Lanterns and you've maybe set up a pattern.
That's what I was going to say, Chris. I'm more worried about, as much as I'm excited for Lanterns, and I'm glad it's an HBO show, I think it's exciting, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I am more worried about accessibility for the DCU when we're talking about not tone, not anything like that, but just, can kids watch this? Superman, yes. Supergirl, probably, right? It's probably PG-13.
Yeah.
But then you run into Creature Commandos, heavy R, right? Peacemaker, heavy R. Lanterns, it's going to probably be a heavy R.
It's at the very least MA as well. Yeah, it's
Clayface. Clayface's body horror R. So we're looking at 4 of the 6 opening projects are MA or R, and
tough.
That's why you really need Superman, Supergirl, and then this whatever they're colliding into, and then Wonder Woman, because you need more of those projects that are going to be accessible for the kids. I'm excited Green Lantern is getting a show and that it's going to be probably really good just from the talent behind it. Part of me is bummed that I'm not going to be able to share that Green Lantern show with my son the way I could pop on like Loki, right? Or pop on Ironheart, or Ironheart actually kind of toes the line a little bit more. It's a little darker. Miss Marvel or something, that type of stuff. So I like that there's these varying tones and varying things for everything, but I think we are maybe leaning a little too much early on the R and MA side of things.
I think the movies are going to lean heavily into family audience, and it's going to balance out. I don't think it's going to hurt.
The event films will anyway. Like Brave and the Bold will be PG-13.
Right.
I
don't think it's going to hurt right now. I actually think it could actually help DC in the sense of more adult projects tend to get more prestige, and you tend to get
TV show wise. You're 100% correct.
Yes. So one of the things that Peacemaker season 1 had going for it was it had this gritty, heartfelt story to it that was like completely like nobody saw that coming from James Gunn on an irreverent TV show about Peacemaker. So like the fact that if you can do that with season 2 and retain the quality, and then you get a damn good Lantern show, because I know, Jordan, if there's one thing I know about you, you're excited about the team making lanterns. If you can have prestige television followed by a movie that has great reviews and great fan appreciation from like Superman, I think you can start the DCU completely devoid of all the baggage from the DCEU. I think you can have, like, the DCU means quality, and DCU is prestige, and I think that could be huge, because now everybody's pooping on Marvel for no damn reason. We just got Thunderbolts, which is a heartfelt, great movie. Thunderbolts might be the best MCU movie in the last 3 years, and nobody cares, right? So, like, this is DC's advantage, if you play it right.
Yeah.
And I'll just say I'm consistent with that across the board. Like, if you go back and listen to old episodes about, I feel like DC heavily leans into that M and MANR, and I don't jive with it as much, in the sense of, like, my wife will not watch the Suicide Squad. She's not going to watch Peacemaker.
Yeah.
My son's not going to be able to watch that stuff anytime soon. Those are two of my favorite projects. But, like, when we talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League, I end up, one, it's so freaking long. Two, the aspect ratio kills me. But three, it's rated R. So if I'm watching a Justice League movie and my son's around, I'm putting on Justice League, okay?
Yeah.
And guess what?
God have mercy on your soul.
It's almost the same exact story anyway, without the terrible epilogue. So there you go. All right, let's move on to the next movie. Well, one thing I'll say too about Supergirl, from what James Gunn has been responding to people on threads and everything, it seems like they're going for one of the other origin stories for Supergirl, where she was not born on Krypton. She was not probably sent at the same time as Kal-El and got lost. It sounded more like she was on, like, her family maybe escaped to Argo, and then she was born there and then comes to Earth later. That would explain why her parents are probably still alive as they're cast in here, and why she probably wouldn't know the answer to the Jor-El message at this point as well. And he called her younger. Now, usually she is younger in years because she got lost on the way, but the way he's been responding to people, I'm thinking they're going to go more on that. And she has had, like, different origin stories as it is on how she gets there and stuff. So I feel like that's the way they're leaning on this. So it'd be interesting if Clark can run into his uncle and, stuff like that. So
my dad said harem. What do you?
Yeah. When do I get that? Right? Like, okay, let's talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day briefly. We did a whole episode on this.
Now I can do it.
Ron and I. Yeah, now you can do it. That's July 31st, 2026, directed by Destin Daniel Cretton. We know for sure Punisher's in it. We know for sure Hulk and Scorpion are back. Sadie Sink, we still have no clue who she's playing. She is wearing her red hair, though there was that one set photo where people tried to say she was the blonde girl. We've seen newer pictures of her with her red hair. Who knows what's going on? And we've seen some, like, Thundercat logos on some tanks. And scoopers have been going through for the whole past, 2 or 3 years, who the villain's going to be. They still have no clue other than Scorpion, really. They said Mr. Negative, and then now they're like, Mr. Negative's not in it. And I'm like, You're the one that told me he was. Why are you now telling me he's not?
Why are you guys saying this? Mr. Negative was never in this movie. It's like, what?
Yeah, but you told us. What are you talking about?
Movie? Yeah.
It's very much the Tim Robinson. We're all trying to figure out the guy who did this. Hot dog sketch. But Chris, you weren't on that episode. Well, why don't you tell us maybe your initial thoughts on Brand New Day?
Well, first off, if I was Sadie Sink, I would just start telling people I'm playing Jean, Gwen, MJ, Stacy. Just whatever. Just, like, put all of them together in
amalgamation.
One name and be like, yeah, and just have people look at you like, what? Like, yeah, just I'm so tired of who she played. I at this point want to be surprised in the theater because if they can keep that under wraps, cool. The suit looks glorious. The Spider-Man suit looks absolutely glorious. The set photos are giving me life. It looks so damn cool. Like, and they're having the him like swinging in the city. You're just like, yeah, this is city level, the street level vibe to it. I am incredibly excited about this movie. Peter's starting over. It's brand new day. It's exactly where a story should be going. There's nothing about this movie that I'm not super excited about. I think No Way Home sets Spider-Man up for a whole like different arc, and it's just exciting because Tom Holland's young enough that we can have another two arcs if he wants to do it. I mean, I know you guys were debating what point does he jump off, and that was a great episode. Everyone should go listen to it. I'm like, let's keep this Spider-Man going as long as possible because I love Tom Holland. I think he's great. So, yeah, I like everything I'm seeing from this. I, this is a movie I want to know less about. I've had the summer where I followed everything from Superman and Fantastic Four, and I kind of just want to know less. I want to know, go in going, I don't know who the bad guy is in this. I don't know what Sadie Sink is playing. I kind of want the mystery for this. I know I'm not going to get it. I know at some point all of this stuff is going to be revealed. There's no way to hide from it. But wouldn't it be nice if we actually went into a movie not knowing everything before we got in there? Um, but yeah, I'm super excited. The photos just look perfect.
Yeah. Well, and the crazy part is too, despite everything that we've gotten, the one thing we haven't gotten is who the hell the main villain is. We know that Scorpion's going to be in there. There's rumors of a bunch of other like side villains. We were kind of throwing around some ideas that could be like a montage early in the movie, but there's still
rumors of a prison fight too, which means that maybe some of these
Okay.
villains are like people he already put away, and then they're getting back at him. That was something almost like the Spider-Man 4, where he goes to the raft and you have like them all teaming up together. Like, it could potentially be something like that too.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, we know that Scorpion's in there right now. So like, if it's for all we know, that could be like the beginning of the movie. You know what I mean, right? All of them breaking out because we don't know the sequence in which they're filming all these things. But I will say that I think this, maybe not to the extent that they're going to pump a bunch of extra money to go out of their way, but I think all of the hype that this has been building and all of like the good favor on social media, like there has not been any complaining about what we've seen. To Chris's point, it's been great. And just this hype, it's like free marketing just by filming out in public and filming some cool shit. Like, it doesn't give anything away. Like, it's a lot of action set pieces and stuff, but people have not stopped talking about Spider-Man since this movie started filming. And it's, they haven't lifted a finger in terms of the marketing department. They haven't, they put out little teaser videos and stuff like that. But like 95% of the hype is just people there taking pictures. You know what I mean? So at least with these big event films, I do think, or at least hope, and we saw it with Superman last year too, right?
Yep.
When that was filming in Cleveland. So like, I do hope that this will be a wake-up call. I don't know, whatever you want to say, but just something that makes them realize like, oh, this is a fun, cool way that we can like interact with our fans during the creation of these movies on a more regular basis.
Right.
Instead of just kind of, doing everything closed set and all that stuff.
Well, the fan base is conditioned to get into Spider-Man movie pretty regularly. And though we have like this little pause after No Way Home, and it's just like, I think they're just like, okay, I'm ready. This is past. It's like when a dog's like, it's past dinner time. Why is there nothing in my bowl?
I mean, this is going to be like the close to the longest gap, because the gap from Spider-Man 3, 07 to 12 for Amazing Spider-Man, and then we had a 2-year gap from, so that's a 5-year gap there, 07 to 12, right? And then since Amazing Spider-Man, you had Amazing Spider-Man 2 in 2014, Homecoming in 2017, but you had Civil War in 2016. They have Far From Home in 2019, as well as the 2 Avenger movies in 18 and 19. Then you have No Way Home in 2021, and now it's going to be 5 years by the time this comes out. Almost. It'll be 4.5 because it was a December release in 2021. But so I think Spider-Man 3 to Amazing Spider-Man is still going to be the longest because they were both summer movies, but it is the longest gap we've had since they reboot it. So this is actually going to be also, I mean, now he's going to be the longest Spider-Man ever, even by years, but also by movies. None of them had 4 movies. So I mean, like he's now approaching those landmarks. But I think the key thing is on movies like this and Superman, some of this stuff can be filmed out and open because now COVID's over. That was one of the issues with No Way Home. But they were never going to film the Andrew and Toby stuff on stage anyway. Like it would always have been on sound stages, so that would have never have gotten spoiled, I guess. Anyway, except for the way it actually got spoiled. But when you're looking at like this, so far we're not getting any big spoilers. I think one reason why they feel, because I've seen some people say this is a reaction to Fantastic Four. It's not. They already knew when they were scheduling the film. Remember how we talked about James Gunn scheduling his filming for the next movie already? That's how far in advance they do this stuff. So they already knew they weren't planning it as like, if Fantastic Four bombs, we're going to have some great set photos that'll take the conversation away. And Fantastic Four hasn't bombed either. I take offense to that word, flop or bomb. Mm-hmm. I feel like you have to really, really like Fantastic Four 2015, to be one of those. It's going to be close to even. It's going to make that as well when you talk in Blu-rays, digital, all that kind of stuff. It's going to get there. But anyway,
disappointing success. It's a success that's on the low end.
Of
what they want. And
but anyway, when you do these type of things, I think they probably felt emboldened from No Way Home. The way people talk about that final swing suit, if they knew they were keeping that already, which is pretty much the same thing, they're like, oh yeah, we can show this off. People will eat this up. They love that suit. Do it in public. Do it in public.
Yeah.
Whatever. We're not going to get any. They're not going to like criticize the suit. We already know they love the suit, right? So, so it's like just free publicity at that point. And then, they love when he's swinging. They love it. Oh, we're going to be doing swinging scenes. Oh, just put that out there. They'll love that. They'll love it. Have Tom Holland meet a little fan. Oh, they'll love that.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
And it's all been home runs. You can't really. There's nothing wrong that they could have shown that probably would have pissed people off, unless if they drastically had changed the suit, or if they were like, I don't know, like some villain that would be controversial that they're like, oh, we're gonna have to film this stuff outside, like I don't know what it'd be, but they're like, oh yeah, we already know Punisher's in it. They love John Bernthal Punisher. Show the van, put the van out there, and people love it.
Honestly, they would have to like outwardly try to ruin the momentum. They'd have to say, well, Peter Parker is going to be working class. This is going to be a woke ass movie. Like that is the only thing they could do and even that I don't think would
people love him being working class. He's a photographer and a pizza guy a lot of times.
I know. I'm totally excited about it, but I'm just like, I could see like what I'm saying is they'd have to like literally try to make it political.
Pink and green suit. Yeah. That's the only way. Pink and green suit.
Yeah. It's just guaranteed money. It's Spider-Man is a printing press.
Yeah, he is.
So, yeah.
All right. I guess let's go ahead and talk about the big one. We're talking about the big one. We're talking about Dune 3. I'm just kidding. We're talking about Avengers Doomsday. Releasing December 18th, 2026, directed by Joe and Anthony Russo. Here's what we know. We got a cast of 27 people that we had the chair reveal for. You can go find that video on our channel. We have the return of the X-Men. We have the Fantastic Four still in 828 from what we saw at the end of the post credit scene. And we think it's the Doctor Doom from Earth 828 as well. That's what we know about this movie. What we don't know about this movie is if Deadpool's in it, because this wasn't in my notes, but earlier this week we had the Hollywood Reporter say, "Hey, Deadpool's in this movie." Back up a bit. Ryan Reynolds shared a fan shirt. Found this from Reddit. The guy shared a picture of this shirt somewhere, and then Ryan Reynolds found it. It is the Avengers logo covered up with like the Anarchy A, I guess, right? That they use in the movie as well. And he saw this shirt. It had the red A instead, and it was on a black shirt. You can even see the wrinkles of the shirt in his photo that he shared. And Ryan Reynolds posted that. Everybody was like, "Oh, he's teasing he's in this movie." And then Hollywood Reporter says, "We hear he's in it." Okay.
To clarify, he shared this picture with no context, not saying what it was.
Yeah.
Just this photo.
Deadline says, "Hold up. He's not in this movie." From what we heard, he saw that picture, liked it, and shared it. So it's either damage control. Also, one thing that's very confusing is Deadline said he posted that picture today, the day that they put the article out, and it was already a couple days old at that point. So who knows what Deadline was doing? Then the rap says, "Oh, we hear he's in it too." And then a lot of the scoopers say he's in it.
He's in it.
I am still of the belief. Oh, okay, so you heard it here.
Yeah.
Ron, Supes and Sabers. He's in
it. If I had to bet he's not in it, I think it's a lot easier not to have him in it. I don't think the story
I think so. That's where I lean too, Chris. I lean on him not being in it.
So I've heard that Ryan Reynolds is very protective of what they do with Deadpool.
Yes.
And it's Deadpool,
he's a producer. He would have to be a producer
right.
on Doomsday then, I think.
Right. And
as well.
I think there's a lot of reasons not to do it. And I think I also think Ryan Reynolds is probably thinking, okay, so that means I'm going to have to do Deadpool their way. That means it's going to be toned down to a level.
That's my thing.
And I feel like Deadpool himself would say, "You got a whole acid or nothing." You know, I don't.
Well, that's what I wonder too. Like, would they have him? Like I always thought an easy way to do it would be like him get censored and him acknowledge it.
Yes,
right,
100%.
But let's say he breaks the fourth wall. Does that take you out of the Avengers movie at all? Where you're like, oh, maybe the stakes are not as high here now because Deadpool's talking to us, and while
I
think like Channing Tatum's dying,
that would also be addressed. I think he would start talking, and then someone would just be like, "Who are you talking to?" Like, just basically the way that I think they'll find a way to do it is like he can do that stuff in his movies, but he can't do that in he's playing in their sandbox.
Right.
You know,
that's what I was wondering.
I agree with that. I'm going to take receipts here because I kept hearing for all these highbrow reviews of Superman that the humor ruined everything and didn't let anything breathe and just took away from the serious moments. So it's like, all right, if you guys want Deadpool in an Avengers movie, that better not have been on your review of Superman. That's all I'm going to say.
I do wonder, because I'm with you, Chris. I lean on him not being in it. I don't know if it's him sharing this is maybe a negotiation tactic. I don't know if
I could see him as a post-credit scene, as like a joke post-credit scene, like, "What, you guys filmed without me?" You know, something like that.
Almost like a Venom, like not actually being in No Way Home.
Yeah, exactly. Like I could see it being just let's have something a little fun at the end of this serious ass big movie.
But so I don't know if this is like a negotiation tactic where he puts that out there and everybody's like, "We want a minute," and he's like, "Look, Marvel, I'm worth it. I need this sort of money to come back," or if it's just he did like the shirt, or maybe it is actually. People said his stunt double is filming stuff right now too. sometimes these stunt doubles are also stunt doubles for another person, though. We see that all the time in these type of movies. So I don't even want to say for sure, like, yeah, his stunt double could be filming stuff. It doesn't mean he's Deadpool. He could be also like Thor's stunt double.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows, right? Like, a lot of times they do double up on the stunt doubles. So
that sounds like a movie right there.
that is something that
Double,
I
double.
am kind of like, I'm not really sure on, but we don't need to keep talking about Deadpool on this. But I will say, if he's not in it, and all these leakers are telling you he's in it, they don't actually know anything. Though.
Yeah.
If he shows up not in it, they'll pull
I
where
They
they
don't know
changed it.
anything.
I don't know how you do it and have the TVA be a major part of this movie in the way that they have to be without having Deadpool in it. Just knowing how closely they were linked to the point where they even told him at the end of his movie, hey, we'll call you if we need you. Like, they're the only ones that have sniffed $1 billion for Marvel since No Way Home. I don't see any way you don't have him and Hugh Jackman in it.
That's kind of the issue, though, when you have Ryan Reynolds be such a big part of it, is that like the cards are in his hand probably more than Disney's or Marvel's hands, and like if he doesn't want to do it,
though. Yeah, like I think they'd be willing to pay him what he wants in order to come back.
Yeah, it may not be money wise either, though. Maybe like he just doesn't want to do it. Like he's already talking about not doing a fourth one for a while, if or maybe never. It's kind of like, it's hard to tell with some of these people, because it is like, either are they negotiating in the press, like, is Tom Holland's always wanting to retire, or is it like or is he serious?
I think that's exactly what it is. And I also think that Ryan Reynolds enjoys being like doing that a little bit, I'm not coming back, being so nonchalant about it. If they call and they're offering up the Disney paycheck and they're like, hey man, come throw it on again. We're not going to kill the character, kill the kid, like, kill what you have built with this character by just writing you into a shitty movie. He's going. I would be stunned beyond belief if we get a report, 6 months from now of like Disney approached Ryan Reynolds, but he turned it down. Although I'm sure we'll get that report, and then we'll get another one that says he actually didn't turn it down and Disney turned him down. And then it'll just be,
And then we'll get another one that says those were both lies, and he's actually on set right now filming. Trust me, he's in the movie.
And they both turned each other down now.
Yes. So. They actually both agreed. They didn't want each other in this movie. But that's kind of the question of what we got. I just think if he was in it, his name would have been on the chairs with Channing Tatum. He would have been with the X-Men crew, I think. So who knows? But I think we should get into more of our, I guess, concerns. Ron, you've been talking about for a while here. I want to give you your floor here for your first act concerns of Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah, man, it's tough. I'm concerned for how they are going to put this story together in a way that doesn't feel lazy or just kind of thrown together. I am fully convinced that when we see the Avengers fighting the X-Men, I'm going to be, wide-eyed like a kid on Christmas. When we see Dr. Doom show up for the first time and he takes that mask off, like, this movie is going to be chock full of moments that we're going to remember as superhero fans for the rest of our life. I just don't want those to be overshadowed by a story that feels muddy, that doesn't feel like it's playing by the rules that they've set up over the most recent years, that have admittedly almost felt like they've changed a bit, flying by the seat of their pants, especially as this multiverse thing is concerned. Like, I'm still not even convinced we're ever going to hear the word anchor being ever again. Like, I
lean with you as well. Everybody talking about, like, does anchor beings even make sense? I'm like, that was for Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't think we're touching that again.
Yeah, no. And just like, a lot of this stuff, like even going back to like Loki that was set up with Kang, that like might not be the case anymore, with just how this whole thing works. And like, it can't be as simple as like, oh, how did they get to that other universe? Oh, they found this so-and-so, and it just so happened to allow them to be able to travel the multiverse. That kind of stuff. I don't think they would ever do something that blatant, but in that sort of vein is what I'm talking about. The movie can't feel convenient in terms of the way things happen. It has to be a tight story. It has to make sense, and it can't shit on the things that have come before it as it pertains to Downey and Iron Man and all that stuff. So I say all of that to say that I am cautiously optimistic and still very excited about this movie, but there is a little bit of me, and I trust the Russos, so I'm not in panic mode or anything like that, but there is a little part of me that's just like, please stick the landing on this story, especially knowing we're about to get a banger of a story in Spider-Man leading up to that. So if we get a great story there and then Doomsday just feels, elementary by comparison, that's going to be tough.
All right. I would say I have reservations, but I think that this, even Michael Waldron helping them out after working on Loki, he was working on, I think, Secret Wars at some time too. So like he can kind of like, he has the knowledge that he can tap in with the Russos, and I think it's McFeely. That like, I think the continuity will be there, is what I'm saying. I don't think it's just like new guys coming in and being like, hey, let's just do whatever we want, right? Like, I do think the fact that Waldron worked on Loki, he worked on Secret Wars for a while when it was still being after Kang Dynasty, that he can kind of lend a hand here on the Doomsday script and kind of help, chart the path to where they're going. And I do think that the Russo brothers love Secret Wars. They talked about it. And they actually, I think, here's one thing that drives me nuts too, okay, is when everybody says, well, the Doom and Reed relationship hasn't been around enough for it to even matter in Secret Wars and stuff. And I'm going to say something here that people are going to disagree with. I don't think that matters, okay? I don't. I know it's a big part of 2015's, but the Russos grew up with the 80s Secret Wars. And I do think you're going to get an amalgamation of the two Secret Wars together, right? So what, I've heard people being like, well, if there's no Molecule Man in it, what are we going to do? And I'm like, look, you're going to get a mixture of both things here. I think.
Yeah.
It just is what it is, right? Mm-hmm. And they probably know that they want that sweet symbiote popping up on Spider-Man at the end of Secret Wars or whatever, right? Like, that's what they're probably, they have in their mind what they've always wanted to do for Secret Wars. This is what they always said they would come back to do, is Secret Wars. So I think they know where they want to go with that. And Doomsday just needs to be the setup for that. It's going to be its own thing too. But I think they know how important these two movies are. That's why they went back to them. That's why they went back to Robert Downey Jr. That's why they did all of this after the Kang blow up. Not even talking about Jonathan Majors, but the reaction to Kang post Loki and post Quantumania, really, when people really started turning on, like, oh, this guy's not going to be a big threat. They knew then that they had to pivot, right? And that's what they were already talking about it beforehand. But the thing is, Jonathan Majors made it really easy for them to be like, you know what? We can do this. Yeah. If he had gotten cleared, they probably would have still had him in these movies to get killed off or get beaten, whatever. Mm-hmm. But now who knows how they're tying that up. But anyway, the main thing is they know that was easy. All right, you made it easy by getting in trouble with the law. We're now going to go pivot to Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom. And we're going to bring back the Russos for these two movies. And they kind of need each other. The Russos weren't doing amazing outside of Marvel anyway. So it's kind of this perfect relationship right now where they can kind of come back together and say, you know what? We're the Beatles. Why shouldn't we come back together, right? And why shouldn't we? Yeah, exactly. Why shouldn't we? Don't keep singing too much, though, because I don't want to get copyright struck. But yeah, so I think they know how.
You got me second.
I think they know how important these are, that I just can't see it failing. Box office wise, who knows? I think it'll do well, but whatever. We're in this weird time. But I don't even know critically, but I think fan wise, this will be well received. I think they know what they need to. I think they know what they need to do. So I understand your reservations to the first act, but I don't think this is going to be like Infinity War. They actually talked about this more being a beginning. So I do think Infinity War was almost like already that culmination. We had to get to the point where everybody was together to then get dusted, right? I don't think we have to worry about that in this movie. I don't think it's going to have that same sort of similar path, is what I'll say.
No.
So
I would be pretty surprised if it did end with everyone together, knowing that the movie's going to end with an incursion that either A, like Doom places all of these fragments of realities together, or if they just do what seems like is probably an easier way to go about it, just have the Void be Battle World. Like wherever you go with that, I do think it's going to just bring all of the characters together from all the different stretches and universes. They probably won't even end the movie in the same universe, if I'm being honest. Like, well, the end will be all of them getting to Battle World, but they won't be like together. Like, there's a whole other thing with Secret Wars of like, do they do the thing where everybody there has lost their memory and only remembers
God,
a
I hope
reality?
not, really.
Me too. But it is a big part of Secret Wars in the comics. So I'm wondering, at least the 2015 one. So I'm wondering, like, there's a lot of things. I don't know. We'll see.
I think they're going to knock it out of the park. This is another situation where I trust the people doing it, and I think that Infinity War was probably the stellar example of what the MCU can be at its best. And I feel like, yes, it's a different process as we've kind of talked about, but I feel like this is them going back to their heavy hitters, their designated hitter. I think this is going to spark everything back up. I think this is what's going to bring juice back into the MCU. I think you're going to have Spider-Man making you feel good. Spider-Man's just, like we said, a printing press. And I think Doomsday is going to really deliver. I think it's going to be a fantastic movie. When you have all these parts, as long as it's not, like you said, Ron, as long as it's not convenient and easy to make fun of, I really think this is just going to be like, oh my God, they're giving me what I want. And then they're giving me what I want over here. And they're giving me what I want over here. There's so much of what I want in this movie that I think it's going to work. And because I trust the Russo brothers, and because I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to knock this out of the park. Like, I think Robert Downey Jr. has his chip on his shoulder to say, you don't think I can do this too? You think I'm just Tony Stark? I think he's going to give us a Doom that's out of this world. So I'm all for this. I think he's not going to knock it out of the park. Plain and simple.
All right, let's quickly knock out these TV shows. Marvel Zombies got moved up. Congrats. I don't know if we're I don't know if we're covering it on here.
I was gonna do a little something for it. So at the very least, you know me, well, I'm the zombie guy.
Yeah, I didn't know if you would look. Okay, if you want to do it, we'll do it. I just didn't know.
Yeah, I'll do a little something. Chris,
we meant to do Eyes of Wakanda too, but it was around that time where we were all sick as well. So
yeah,
I still haven't watched it.
I was in Eyes of Puconda instead of the food poisoning.
Wonder Man's in December. So what we know from that is we have Yahya Abdul Mateen II as Simon Williams, Wonder Man. Ben Kingsley back as Trevor Slattery. And then we have Arian Moayed as P. Clearly from the Department of Damage Control again. He's the one that interrogates the Spider-Man family in No Way Home. So he's back as well. It's 8 episodes. Created by Destin Daniel Cretton and Andrew Guest. And DDC directed 2 episodes of that. So, we'll be talking about Wonder Man when that comes out. What I heard is it's more like half-hour comedy, so like 8 episodes.
I got a feel, I think it's going to be very episodic, probably maybe a little goofy, kind of tongue-in-cheek, sort of a funny look at Hollywood, through sort of a goofy Marvel kind of lens.
Almost like the Studio or something, but Marvel.
Yeah, honestly.
That'd be interesting. And then so the big ones. We got Lanterns, early 2026.
Go.
Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan, Aaron Pierre as Jon Stewart. We have Ulrich Thomason as Sinestro. And then we also will see like Jon Stewart's parents in flashbacks, it looks like. True Detective style show based on a small town. We know Nathan Fillion is returning as Guy Gardner. He mentions dropping F-bombs in this show. And that it's 8 episodes long. That's what we know of Lanterns. I guess just quick vibe check on Lanterns, Ron.
Vibes are high, man. It's going to be awesome. I'm interested to see because a Guy is a character that like he's basically going to transcend all different ratings. You know what I mean? He was in the PG movie with Superman. Now he's going to be in Peacemaker. Then he's going to be in this. So that's going to be an interesting dichotomy to see. Just really quick, I know I've said it a couple times on here. I wasn't totally sold on the idea of Kyle Chandler at first, just because I had a really specific idea of him as an actor. And then I saw that first promo shot of him and Aaron Pierre walking down the street, and I was like, oh, never mind. This is going to be awesome. We don't really know much. We know that it's some mystery that's going to set up the greater DCU. You know, I've been pounding the table that was going to be Blackest Night since 2023. I will continue to do so. And I'm really excited for it outside of that, man. It's going to be a great time. We also, the Sinestros thing is interesting. The general sort of prevailing thought right now is that maybe like Hal goes to visit him in jail or something like that. And that Sinestro is like already caught. And this is, this show takes place after the Sinestro War and all that stuff. So who knows? But I'm interested to learn more as we get closer. This is one, Chris said I want to know less about Spider-Man. This is one like I really want to know a little more about, especially as it pertains to the True Detective side of things, being such a big fan myself.
One thing I think is interesting, yeah, it would be cool if the Sinestro thing is like they need his help, so they need to like get him out of jail so he can help them, but it's like this almost you're under surveillance. Yeah, kind of like that. You're under our surveillance while while you're helping us, and maybe you get, I don't know, a year knocked off of that 250-year sentence or something. I don't know.
We're starting a squad.
Yeah. Task Force L, right? For Lanterns. What about you, Chris? What's your vibe level going into Lanterns here?
I think the biggest thing for me is that Sinestro is involved, and I'm really interested to see where that goes. I think it's going to be more of a Jon Stewart story too. So I'm really excited. Jon Stewart's my Green Lantern. I'm so ready for this. So, and yeah, I didn't think I was going to be that excited about Nathan Fillion's, but yeah, I am. I'm like, okay, I need to see more of this asshole. Yeah, I'm excited about Lanterns. I think it's going to set up a lot of things in the DCU, and I just think it's going to be a quality television show. Like, I've heard so many different things about the style. I've heard them kind of walk back the True Detective stuff and then kind of reinforce it. I've heard it's going to be weird.
I think what they're kind of, I think what that is like, people took that to mean there's not going to be any Lantern stuff, but like we saw behind the scenes them like testing flight stuff on this. So, you're going to get that stuff. I think it's kind of a crazy jump, though. I mean, like he comes back and joins the Daily Show, and then he's getting his own show as well. Jon Stewart.
Damn it! I don't feel bad about Eyes of Tucson anymore. Whatever.
I didn't know he had it in him though. That's crazy.
Hey,
okay.
He's a multi-talented guy. What can we say?
Okay, so when you guys were gonna flip to me, I was gonna say Kyle Chandler's in it, and charged lanterns, full hearts can't lose.
So well, yeah, good thing you didn't.
Well,
okay.
While we're getting out all the cheesy lines, I might as well.
We also have, I guess, early 2026, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, Game of Thrones spinoff based off the Duncan Egg Tales, 6 episodes. Ron is so excited for this. I haven't read Dunkin' Egg, so I don't really know what to expect. I do know it's a little bit more lighthearted tone than the typical Game of Thrones fare, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, it made us wait another 2 years for House of the Dragon, so I'm so glad it exists. Truly.
Did it make us wait, or are they just taking their sweet ass time anyway?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. That too, probably. Yeah, I don't have. It's so funny because like the DC side of HBO, I'm like, yes, and then the Game of Thrones side of HBO right now, I'm just like,
Here's my biggest complaint about this is we don't let franchises rest at all at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Game of Thrones ended, and literally not many years later is House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
What is it? 2 years later?
3, wasn't it? It was 18 to 21.
Was it 18? Okay. It was 18 or 19, right? That show ended. So,
or it might have been 19. It might have been 19.
I think it was 19.
Okay.
So you're looking at like a 2-year gap to House of the Dragon. Then that show premiered well. First season was great. Then you start getting into some trouble with season 2. I liked it, but some of the fan response here has been very mixed. Then we get
a 3-year wait.
It was a 3-year wait, a 2-year wait in between. We're already at the 2-year. Are we already at the 2-year point? No. It was 3 years, wasn't it?
It was.
Oh, it was 2022. Right? It was 2022 to 2024.
Okay.
Is what it was.
Okay,
that's what it was. So it was 2 years. Because I remember I changed job positions at the same time House of the Dragon premiered. So 2022. So it was a 3-year gap from the Game of Thrones to House of the Dragon. But then a 2-year wait. We're now at a year already. I think they're just now starting filming season 3. So who knows? And then we were supposed to get this show at the end of this year, and then it got pushed to the spring, which made people think, all right, that means House of the Dragon's not going to be ready for 2026. And that's what I think it is. I think they pushed it so that way they have something for 2026. And then they're already working on another spinoff that the guy who wrote the Batman with Matt Reeves is writing. Aegon's Conquest, I think, is that one. And then they also had another spinoff they were working on. But I
think that one got canned. But yeah, the Sea Snake one, or it got moved to like an animated show or something. Yeah, either way,
but it's like, it's
just fucking ridiculous. Yeah.
Do we need that many Game of Thrones shows at one time?
No. And they have so many of them that are like announced or ongoing, but like they're still not putting anything out. Like that's the most annoying part about it. Oh my gosh.
Game of Thrones was yearly until like season 7 or 8. All right. And they did 10 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we have 8. And now we're going to 6 and they're only half-hour episodes. Like,
right.
Dude, just, I mean, I don't know what to say because, like, I know once House of the Dragon comes back, I'm going to be just as in as I always am because I love Game of Thrones and I love Westeros and all that stuff. But yeah, dude, it sucks. The way that they have operated this entire thing really since, I mean, if you want to go all the way back, we can go all the way back to season 7 of Game of Thrones and the way that they chopped that up and, they went from 10 episodes to 7 and 6 and, there was the D&D drama of like them and who knows if they even want to come back, dude. It's just been nothing but a shit show at HBO on the Game of Thrones side for what feels like longer than it was good at this point. You know what I mean?
Dude, is it wrong if I liken this to The Walking Dead in the sense of how they manage the franchise is almost the same? The flagship show ended. Now we're doing all these spinoffs where, it almost feels like those shows, like they can't let it die even for a couple years to just give it a rest. Like, and then I saw, this really pissed me off yesterday. I saw somebody ask Bob Odenkirk, like, hey, what about a revival of Better Call Saul? And he was like, no, I don't think he's getting out of jail. But I'm like, the show just ended. It just ended. What are we asking about a revival for? What are we doing?
Yeah.
The whole point of the ending. Yeah. Like it was an impactful ending. Let's just fucking ruin it by bringing it back exactly when we would have for another season. Anyway.
It happens for every show. You can star in a show for like 10 years and then 1 year after the show ends, they'll be like, so what's it gotta take to get ABC to get you guys revived again? So we just fucking ended. What are you talking about?
This is the same company. The Game of Thrones company is the same company that just committed to 10 years of Harry Potter TV show. 10 years, like right on the
Yeah.
gate. That I'm just like, you're just like, I get that you want to do a book per season kind of thing. I get that you want to
That
slow,
still makes way more sense though than
right?
like imagine if the
But
Harry
that just
Potter show instead they were like we're following James that we're no this would be the equivalent, Chris. It's like we have the Harry Potter series coming out right now. Once that show is off for a year because we have to make 3 years to make a show. In the off years, we're going to have his father spinoff. And then in the off years of that show, we're going to have Harry's son spinoff. And we're going to have all these things going at the same time
yeah,
for some godforsaken reason. Just
Yeah.
finish House of the Dragon, then do the other shows. That's what it should have been.
it just seems like they want to milk their IP no matter what.
Yeah. But
It's
they're
the
treating it like it's Star Wars, but it's not. It hasn't had the cultural impact yet.
Well, and Star Wars is one of those things because you spend so much of the Star Wars franchise on the Skywalker saga with all the stuff before and after that you can kind of mine.
Right.
Whereas, like, there's this long timeline. Whereas, and it's linear storytelling, you can just pick what point of the story you're in. Well, most of these franchises tell a complete story, and they fill in the story around it. So it's like there's nothing else to go back to. Like, so like with what they're doing with Harry Potter, they're just retelling the story. It's not even like we're not even getting a different story. So, they're milking IP for everything they've got.
Right. I don't blame them so much on the Harry Potter front because there's so much on the books they could touch.
True.
And they tried the other approach. They were like, we're doing Fantastic Beasts. And then it flamed out. And they were like, all right, we got to go back to square one. And at least it's 25 years after the darn movies that they're doing this. But like,
I actually like
we'll
the
see what
first
happens.
Fantastic Beasts movie, and then it went off the rails. But like,
I don't mind. I actually don't mind all three of them. And I think the fact that he stopped at 3 and they gave us some sort of nice ending that if they didn't get to do 4 and 5, it works. I was happy with because I already knew box office wise. I was like, they're not getting 4 and 5. So make sure you have some sort of nice ending here for me.
I actually kind of like the Fantastic Beasts. Did I think it was great? No, but I thought it was better than. Got credit for it.
We also have Daredevil Born Again season 2 coming out in March, probably. The full season of the new creative team. So really excited about that one. Charlie Cox had to walk back a statement where he said final season because Vincent D'Onofrio was like, whoa. No, I'm not done playing Kingpin. Okay?
Charles, my friend, you seem to be sorely mistaken.
And then we have Vision Quest, which is supposed to maybe come out next year as well, which is a new TV series featuring Vision. We got James Spader coming back as Ultron. Todd Stashwick as Paladin. Todd Stashwick is great. He also is in one of my favorite shows, 12 Monkeys, as well as Emily Hampshire, actually, who's going to be voicing Edith. They're both in 12 Monkeys. The writer of 12 Monkeys is the showrunner for this. So it makes sense that that connection is there. And then we also have like Tania Miller as Jocasta, which is another robot. So, but Paladin is an assassin who's hunting Vision. We got Edith. We got Friday as well in this show. So, that's pretty cool. What if they release it on Fridays? Wouldn't that be cool?
Got to get down.
But no, this one we don't know much about, but we don't even know if it's going to still be called Vision Quest. We don't really know any of this, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited to get another side of Vision here.
I'm a pretty big James Spader fan, so I'm glad he's coming back, but I've been a huge James Spader fan ever since Boston Legal, way back in the day. So
and Robert California, who could ever forget.
No, I hate Robert California.
I think that this show is going.
Sorry, go ahead.
Do you?
Yeah, I can't. I can't stand Robert California.
Okay. We've talked about enough IPs in this show. We don't need to go down an office rant too. But I think this show is going to feel very fun and familiar in a lot of ways. Seeing Ultron back, seeing Paul Bettany back, getting Friday again. It's gonna, I think, scratch that itch that they were probably hoping Armor Wars would before that movie went. I don't even know. I think it's in hell now. But I'm excited in that regard. I also am interested to see if this ties in Vision to the Doomsday Secret Wars situation at all. I mean, I don't think any of us believe Wanda's really dead, right? So, like, it stands to believe that there would be some kind of reunion there at some point with the kids as well, Billy and Tommy, who knows. So I think it's gonna be cool to see a lot more of that story. I don't really have any expectations yet, though, because like Jordan said, we don't really know much of anything about it. We haven't even gotten a teaser shot or nothing. And the character explanations we've gotten have been pretty vague. But everything that we've seen, I jive with, and I'm excited to again crack open some of those old MCU memories again.
So one thing I wanted to touch on that you just said there is about Vision maybe going to Doomsday and stuff. I'm actually leaning on that, like he and like Agatha and stuff are kind of relegated to the TV side. That's what I kind of feel. You asked if I believe Wanda is dead. Unfortunately, I don't believe she's dead, but I wish she was. Okay. I think that we need to have some more finite endings to some of these characters in order for it to actually matter when we're dealing with this stuff. The fact that she got crushed by that mountain and people were like, she'll be back is kind of a detriment to movies and what we're seeing. And it's not just these movies. It's all movies right now. They're talking about bringing Paul Walker back again for another Fast and Furious movie. Like it just happens. Like for some reason it's not just a comic book thing anymore. It is now all movies. We're all TV shows where they're like, hey, like when Will and Grace came back and they're like, we're actually going to forget that there was a series finale at all that showed the future. We're going to do our own thing. It's like, what? Roseanne comes back and they're like, forget that John Goodman was supposedly dead in that one weird season finale. We're bringing it all back. And they just start like, if I'm watching some of these shows now, I don't even know where I'm supposed to pick up what season was a dream, what season wasn't. Like, all of this stuff has just permeated all culture. Like Terminator movies, I can't even tell you which ones are canon, which ones pick up the right thing. Like it's all a mess, and that's what everything is becoming at this point. So I would love to see Wanda actually be seriously written out. Like that should have been it. I'm sorry.
I like that James Gunn has said that we're gonna have
characters die.
They're gonna be dead. Like if you see somebody die, just say, okay, they're dead. And I think that's pretty important. But like I was listening to the Peacemaker podcast, and he's like, yeah, I got to kill somebody. I got to kill some people so the audience knows that people can die. I have to have stakes in this show. I can't just say, okay, everyone's going to get out alive. It's going to end up great. So I think it's really cool that stakes are real, and Marvel's got to get back to that. I agree.
All right, that was a mammoth episode. We're well over time, but thank you all for watching and listening. I got some cool stuff coming up. I watched the Amazing Spider-Man 1977 TV pilot. I did a reaction video for that. I'm just editing that beast right now, so that's going to come out at some point. I might do some Peacemaker Season 2 reactions as well on the channel. So I'm debating that. I think it'd be fun to have like my first reaction to some of these episodes captured on camera. So those might be coming down the pipe as well. And yeah, we got our Peacemaker Season 2 coverage that starts this week or early next week, depending on when we can record for the premiere, because it premieres this Thursday, so that is pretty exciting. But yeah, that's everything we got coming for us right now. We are not trying to overload ourselves right now. We're in a little bit of a slower fall mood. We'll have some.
We just told you everything we got coming. That was this whole episode.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. F you. We're done. At Supes and Sabers on all of our social media, supesandSabers@gmail.com. As well, we have an email account for that now, so you can catch us there. But thank you all for watching and listening along. We'll catch you next time. Talking Peacemaker.